Hello and welcome to Louise Singleton Creations. In today's video I will be making a beautiful resin memorial paperweight for my friend who's recently lost her lovely dad, and she absolutely loved it. I hope you will too. If that sounds good, stay tuned and enjoy the video. So here's the picture of my friend's dad, which I will be using today. I've printed it out onto transparency film with my laser printer. Laser printers print with toner and not ink, and the toner is absolutely fine on the transparency film in the resin and it won't need sealing. Here's the mould I'm using from Let's Resin. I've already found out how big the circle that's going inside needs to be, and it's 8 centimetres. As it turned out, I wish I'd cut it a little bit smaller, but you'll see what happened about that soon. Right, the first job is to draw around the template so that I can cut out my circle to go inside my mould. After drawing around the circle, I marked out a rectangle at the bottom so that I had something to hold the image with when it was in the resin and make sure it stayed the right way up. As it happened, my ruler fitted into the opening of the mould perfectly, so I used the width of my ruler as a guide and then cut it out. Right, next it was time to see if it would fit nicely inside the mould, and at this stage I should have really made the decision to trim some more off around the edges, but something in my head was saying it would be fine, don't worry about it, it's just a bit snug, you don't want it to be too small, you know, all those things that go through your head. So I talked myself out of trimming it and kept it as it was. Unfortunately, that made a less than perfect result. The finished piece did end up looking absolutely amazing, but it would have been perfect if I'd just trimmed off a little bit around the edges. But never mind, let's carry on with it and see what happens next. The next job was to measure out and mix my deep pour resin. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, that's a lot of resin for that little mould. And yeah, it would be a lot of resin for that little mould, but I was multitasking. I was doing my previous video at the same time. But yeah, I split it into 2 videos. So this is enough resin for my previous project and the one you're seeing today. I'm using my mixer from Let's Resin along with Let's Resin's deep pour resin. Now the deep pour resin is already a very low viscosity, so it degasses by itself very easily, but because I've got the new bubble removal machine from Let's Resin, I thought, well, it's there, I might as well use it, and so I did put it into there to remove any excess bubbles. And then all I needed to do was to pour it in. I had to go from one side to the other alternately because the image was so snug, it was kind of blocking it. So I didn't want to put too much in one side and make it lose its shape. I kept going from one side to the other. But as you might be able to see, it did distort the picture a little bit. It looks worse than it is because that's just the reflection in the resin that you can see there. But yeah, it moved the picture so it wasn't like, there you go, you can see, can't you? It wasn't standing flat. I did manipulate it with a lolly stick to try and straighten it up, but never mind. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going on about it. So unfortunately, even though you saw me mixing up that massive amount of resin, I did end up not having quite enough. So I did mix up a little bit more, and then it was ready, once it was filled obviously, to leave it to cure, and I think I left it 2 days. Deep pour resin does take a lot longer to cure, which is a good thing because it gives the bubbles chance to get all the way from the bottom of your deep pour to the top to escape. So that's the reason why it takes a long time. So as if by magic, here it is out of the mould. I did need to take it to my sink and use some soap and water in the mould to get it out. It really helps if you do that, and then it just pops out really easily. You don't need to turn the mould inside out or anything like that. You just make sure the water's gone all the way around by kind of massaging it, and yeah, you can see when the mould has been released. You'll see when you do it, and yeah, then you just squeeze the mould and it pops out. So there you go. It's got a void, hasn't it? And so I needed to fill that void. I wasn't being patient enough to use regular resin, so I got some UV resin. Any UV resin will do, and I filled that void after trimming off the excess transparency film, that is. And once I'd finished filling that area with UV resin to level it out nicely, I sprinkled on some chunky glitter, also from Let's Resin, on the top just to add a bit of interest before putting it under the UV lamp to cure. And here it is, all finished. It was such a simple project. I don't know if you could see just then, you probably missed it. But you know, I said it was a bit wobbly at the sides because the picture hadn't gone in quite straight. Well, I think I was in denial when I was filming it, and I didn't want to show you. I wish I had, because I wanted to explain what had gone wrong, but never mind. It was just a bit wobbly on the side where the image was laying a bit strangely. But yeah, it was really hard to photograph, and that's why I filmed it. You can see the wobbly bit there. No, it's gone again. But look, isn't that gorgeous? It really captures my friend's lovely dad so nicely. And when I gave her it, she was so thrilled with it. She absolutely loved it. And it's one of those things where if you're not looking at it in the right light or from the right angle, it's hard to see the picture. And just in the same way, it was hard for me to take a photograph. Yeah, and we were saying when she was looking at it that the fact that it's kind of quite magical that he's there but not there. And it just makes it more special, the fact that you've got to really look in the right light to see the picture there. And so, yeah, I quite like that fact. With it being a memorial paperweight as well, it makes it magical to me. Because I know how it is when I lost my dad. Even though he's not with us physically anymore, I feel that he's there all the time, especially when I'm creating something in my craft room. I can almost feel him saying, no, don't do it like that, do it like this. And sometimes ideas come to my head and I swear it's my dad communicating with me. Some of you might think that's a bit strange, but yeah, you do get that feeling when you lose somebody that they're not entirely gone. They're still with you, but just not in the same way. Well, it was quite a short video this week, but it was very simple, so I couldn't stretch it out too much. You would have been bored. But yeah, it was a nice simple project, and I hope it's inspired some of you that are not quite so confident with casting things like this, because it really was very easy. I'll put all the links and discount codes to the products I've used today in the video description, as always. If you've enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to, and I will see you again next time. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.